He was my only son. And I would have never thought this had happened to him.
Dexter had been hit and killed by a police officer less than an hour after he left his mother's house. And even though his body had been identified, no one bothered to tell her until 6 months later. Dexter Wade was 37 years old when he was struck by a Jackson Police Department vehicle driven by an off-duty police officer on March 5th while walking near Interstate 55 and McDowell Road. On March 14th, his mother, Betterstein Wade, reported him missing, but she reportedly did not find out until late August that he had been killed. Ms. Betterstein Wade alleged that officials covered up her son's death. Because they waited so long to tell her that her son was dead, he was buried in a pauper's grave, marked only by a small sign that listed it as a grave number 672.
We're going to petition the court to have his body exhumed and have a independent autopsy performed, and then give him a proper funeral for his mother and his daughters and his family.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump told reports Monday that the family had agreed with Hinds County to be present at 11:30 a.m. for the exhumation, but that the body was exhumed at 8 a.m. instead. That's 3 hours earlier than scheduled. I wonder what the rush was, or the reason they exhumed Dexter's body so much earlier than planned, knowing Miss Betterstein wasn't going to be there. County Administrator Kenny Wayne Jones stated that the early exhumation was very unfortunate, but denied a cover-up, chalking it up to a miscommunication. They seem to keep having problems with communication. This is the same excuse that Mayor Chokwe Lumumba gave as to why Ms. Betterstein wasn't informed that her son was killed until almost 7 months later. Communication. Crump also said an independent pathologist who examined Wade's body found his wallet and state identification card in the front pocket of Wade's jeans, despite county officials previously saying that no identification was found other than a bottle of pills with Wade's name on it.
Tonight, a mother's anguish turning to anger. Betterstein Wade thought she'd finally get some peace of mind, working with Hinds County, Mississippi officials to exhume the remains of her son, Dexter, who was killed and buried without her knowing. But Public Works officials went ahead with the plan hours before she arrived.
I didn't get to see him come from the ground. Okay, cover up. I mean, y'all keep telling me y'all didn't do it unintentionally. This is not an intention to me. But how? If this is y'all child, what would y'all think?
Her son's remains had already been dug up and put into a body bag. Wade says the county made her feel like she doesn't exist and that it didn't matter she's a mother looking to honor her son. The Public Works Department did not return a request for comment.
She had to fight for transparency just to get to this point. And even though it's emotional, she ain't no ways tied. For us, it's almost a funeral in reverse.
Wade had filed a missing persons report in March, only to find out 6 months later her son had been struck and killed by an off-duty Jackson police officer while crossing a highway. He was then buried in an unmarked grave behind the county jail.
Only thing I could say, Dexter, I tried to find you and I couldn't. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry you are here.
Jackson police have not responded to NBC's questions about the case, but according to the coroner's office, an investigator did identify Dexter and shared contact information for his mother with the police. But Betterson says she never got a call.
At no point have we identified or did any investigation reveal that there was any police misconduct in this process and that there was any malicious intent.
The premature exhumation, another insult for a grieving mother. And as her attorneys see it, a situation that now makes it impossible to know the condition in which Dexter's remains were buried.
And it begs the question about all those other unknown bodies in that graveyard. How many of those families that think their loved ones are missing? We're going to get to the truth. Not just for your son, but for other children.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump discussed the initial findings of Dexter Wade's independent autopsy.
According to the information provided to Crump by pathologist Dr. Frank Peretti, Wade's body had not been embalmed and was in an advanced state of decomposition. Peretti reported Wade's body had multiple blunt force injuries to the skull, ribs, and pelvis. His left leg was amputated, and his body had been run over by a car. Crump claims there was a wallet in the front pocket of Wade's jeans that contained his state identification card with his home address, his credit card, and a health insurance card. The attorney says a full autopsy report is expected soon.
Attorney Crump posted on Instagram the initial findings of the independent autopsy of Dexter Wade. Dexter's body was not embalmed. His body was in an advanced state of decomposition. He presented multiple blunt force injuries to the skull, ribs, and pelvis. His left leg was amputated. His body was completely run over by the police vehicle. There was a wallet in the front pocket of his jeans containing his state identification card with his home address, his credit card, and a health insurance card. The news we received today from the independent pathologist in Dexter Wade's death shows us that there is no excuse, not even incompetence, for not notifying a next of kin of an identified man's death. Dexter, a young black man, was buried with no more dignity and respect than an animal, which no human being deserves. I couldn't even see him come out the ground. Y'all didn't give me the time to see him before he took his last breath. I didn't get to see him come from the ground. A cover-up. This is Gail at Night. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for supporting. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and set the bell to all.